Yvonne Patricia Rhodes Tolliver, born May 30th, 1950. My mother, Patricia Rhodes Wilson, Evan Rhodes, our father, Theodore Griffin, my biological daddy. My mother later married my father, Moses Wilson, and when I was 8 years old. My earliest remembrance is when I was about 5 years old. I remember always looking forward to Christmas because everybody came together and we were just, it was a lot of cooking going on. It was a lot of cooking going on. And ask me a question.
What was going on? Like, who was around when everybody
Mama. Mama. My mother was the only one out of 5 children that had children. So we were all my aunt's children. So it was just a big deal whenever, you know, our aunts was around, because Mama was a good cook and she taught school over in Panama City. So we always looked forward to Mama coming home on that weekend, you know.
So she wasn't in the house Monday through Friday?
Talking about my aunt?
Your mom?
No, my mother, well, when we were young, we called my mother Pat, but we always called my Aunt Ruth, we called her Mama, until we were about maybe 7, 8 years old. Mother informed us that if we were going to call her Pat, that we had to start calling her Miss Pat. So we decided that we better call her Mother. And that's how she got, you know, we started calling her Mother, because we already was calling my aunt Mama. And, but Mama was this big bundle of love that you just couldn't wait till Friday come for her to come home, because we knew that Mama had a bunch of treats or whatever, you know. And so we was kind of raised like in 2 houses. We was like, we stayed with my mother during the week, and Mama come home, we all went down to Mama's on the weekend. And my uncle, her husband, they had chickens, and so we got to go down there and play with the chickens and the biddies, and you know, it was just good old country farm living, you know. But what else?
I was really enjoying that.
Born and raised here in Apalachicola, Florida, 1947. I raised under May Garrett, my grandmother, and I'm born on the oath of May wind. I am who I am, so if whoever like me, don't like me, so I don't take care less. I put doctors on my sister Merck. I don't want to say. I mean, I did all these things that brought me into life. You know, just growing. I'm the oldest of 9 children.
Can you tell me your siblings? Who are your siblings?
My sister was Merch, and then it was Thomas and Thomasina, April, and Ocil Andrea,
Van.
and Van, which has passed on in life. But anyway, it was 9 of us. So anyway, I'm the oldest of 9, and I'm still the oldest of 9 children that's living.
Now, how was it growing up with 9 children in the house?
It was hell. I'm gonna say it was. I mean, some things I had to do, and some things I didn't have to do. I mean,
what did you have to do?
I had to babysit them and take them back to my grandmother's house, and we are We were just a family, a group of people. And Christmas time, like this time of year, we played, my sister Ava, we had to make numbers. We had to do all these things that we had to do to make our life worth living.
Now describe numbers. What was numbers?
Numbers were playing the bolita. Numbers was it was gambling.
And how did you do it?
All right, we made 10 books a night, and then we go and sell them, and that's, how can I say it? We sold them 10 cents a piece, and then we went out and we sold them, and then everybody gambled on them. You got a 10-cent book of numbers, and then that's how you did it.
And you sold them to people in the community?
Right. Right.
Who were some of the people you sold them to?
Everybody that wanted to buy one. It was the same thing that we did as a lotto is doing today. We did the same thing. Mm-hmm. And that's how we went to school. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how to put it no other way.
I have a twin brother, Patrick Rose. We are twins, and I have 2 sisters. I had a little baby brother, and he died at when he was 5 months old. So, and that's the first time I can really remember being sad, because I remember when I was a little girl, my mother went out, and when she came back in, she checked him, and I don't know if it was crib death or what, and I always remember my mother screaming. So that's at a young age I didn't understand, that kind of what death meant, But I know I had a little brother, and we was enjoying playing with him, and enjoying him, but he was no longer there with us, So. But then we moved on, because Mother always kept us busy. We had a time to get up, a time to go to bed, and she never believed in us being idle, So we wanted to just rest. We would have to go hide, because she would just always believe that you ought to be occupied and doing something, So it was kind of a mixture of sadness and a mixture of good days when she was playing good things for us, But my mother worked hard, and she was always, very independent, and wanted to take care of her children the best way she knew how to take care of. So we went to Holy Family Catholic School, And so a lot of my memories are mostly during the school days.
So can you tell me about those memories?
Yes, I just remember that the nuns was, they were extremely strict, very, very strict. You had to get up, you go to mass for everything. I remember one of the particular times when, if anything happened in the country, we were ushered out the classroom into mass. For instance, like when John F. Kennedy died, everybody had to come out of class and go to mass. I remember they always had activities. The nuns always, especially like May Day, they're, wrapping the maypole, crowning the Blessed Mother with this flower, what it called? We would have to go pick this flower. It's not althea. It's and we would have to wind it around like a wreath, and then we crown the Blessed Mother. So it was always something we was doing at Catholic school. After school, sometimes we would go over to the convent, And the nuns just would have, you always learning to do something, ironing, you know.
So there was a convent here in Appalachia.
Oh yes, that convent, the convent was right next to Holy Family, right before you get to Holy Family. It was like 3 stories, one of the most beautiful antique buildings that was on this hill. And later, after there was no more Holy Family, they sold it. And what was the name of it? Miss Shellis.
Yeah.
Miss Shellis, Ruth Shellis bought it. Bought it for like $6,000. And cost her more money to move it, like what, $11,000 to move it. She moved it out to 13 Mile. And they had to cut that building, separate it into 4 parts just to get it moved. And she's she got the history on it and virtually turned it, kept it kind of like it was. But I always remember that convent because they had marble fireplaces and just beautiful wood. Just one of the real treasures of Apalachicola, you know. And it's still located, you know, out there on 13 Mile. She since passed about 4 years ago. Yeah. But it's still out there. And they have in the archives on Apalachicola history, so they do have that convent where it was renovated and how, you know, what area, she gives history on what each room was and all of that. So I think my fondest memory is the convent.
Really?
More than just the Catholic school. And I was extremely happy when they renovated Holy Family. You know, that we didn't lose Holy Family. And because I know it means a lot to the modern people as a place to go and have functions and stuff, but it means a whole lot more to me than that. Because with me and Arnold, it's a part of us in that building. It's a part of my mother in that building. You know, we have roots in that building. And I remember when they first had the opening, I remember I dreamed about the tabernacle part, and it was like it was so many people in there. And it was like that the walls was engraved with the stations of the cross and all. So it has a lot more root meaning to me in that Holy Family now. They had the closets that the beautiful, what they call a coat closet. But if you did something wrong, they took you in there, made your leg cross. They call it the golden chair, and pounded you, whatever.
And then
and they wanted you to learn music. They were really strict about you learning to play the piano and singing old folk songs. We learned how to make roses out of crepe paper, watercolor. It was just no end to what the nuns would have us doing and occupying us. And I remember
when the camera, we still pass by here and bow our head.
Bow our head. And then every morning when we went to school, you had to stand out on the outside where you drive in at, and the kids had to stand outside, and we always did pledge allegiance to the flag, and then we would say the Lord's Prayer, you know, before we even go into school. But no one at Holy Family was considered too dumb to learn anything. And that, you know, that meant a lot to me because the nuns were so that if you had if there was a child that might have been slow, the nuns would find a way one-on-one with that child to the point of even going to the home that child always came out just as successful as anybody else. So that's some good memories I have about Holy Family. Because that's mostly what I have is home, Holy Family, home, Holy Family. And then we would look forward to circus. Whenever the circus would come to town, my mama would plan to take us to the circus.
So the circus actually came here.
Mm-hmm.
Where did they have it at?
They would put a tent downtown, right, Arnold?
No.
Where the out the Alabama Folk Bank?
At the hospital.
Oh, that's where the tent would be?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were so little, but mother always saw to it that we would go to the circus because she was so strict, we couldn't go nowhere.
See, the hospital
You
was
know.
at the air base.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I remember out somewhere.
Yeah.
But my mother was so strict that it was just for us, it was like home school. Now after school, we would play baseball, and we believed in playing hopscotch. Now that's where because we could take the chalk and draw on the streets, make our outline, and we played a lot of hopscotch and jumping jacks, marbles, the good old fashioned kind of playing. And then my mother always believed in us keeping our minds going, so she would have games. And one of the games she would have was called Uncle Wiggly. And we loved that game.
What was Uncle Wiggly?
It was kind of almost not too deep as Monopoly, but it was, like that. So we enjoyed that.
Now, was it a game that you bought, or was one she made up like Monopoly?
No, she bought it. It was an actual game called Uncle Wiggly. Mm-hmm. And we would play that, and croquettes. Mm-hmm. Croquettes. She believed in us playing croquettes. So that was something. We had a lot of, if we had birthday parties, it was like hot dogs and roasted marshmallows. Mm-hmm. So we had that. So, and if we went to the beach, it wasn't no fun because we had to go way down on the other end, and all the other people be on the other end. So we was like secluded from the main people. But I think it's because they were more watchful, and they could watch the children better if they were separated. Mm-hmm. His mama did the same thing. We wanted to go way down there where the other people crowd would be on, beach, whenever we went to the beach on Money Bayou.
Yeah, the black
Money
beach
Bayou.
and the white beach.
Yeah. And one of the things I loved about Apalachicola is that we had all the old-fashioned stores. Ziegler store, Mr. Clark's store, and we loved to go to Ziegler's store.
Now, can you describe Ziegler's store?
It was an old, where the building is now, it's on 8th Street, where Miss Christine Rowe bought it from the Ziegler's. But the Ziegler store was actually, was it over there by the Methodist Church, before you get to the Methodist Church?
Right.
And that's where we would love to go around the corner to go to the Ziegler store, because it was a country store, and he had meats, he had candies, penny candies and stuff like that. So we would love to, that was a treat to go to a Ziegler store.
What about Clark's?
Clark's store, we knew of it, but Mother never allowed us past 7th Street, so we never got to go to Mr. Clark's store,
I was.
We couldn't go to the snack bar
Where was the snack bar?
on 7th Street. Everybody out of school would go to the snack bar, but she wouldn't allow us to go to the snack bar. That's where a lot of the young kids would hang out at the snack bar. That was owned by Oakland Roads, my cousin. So,
The barber shop and the snack bar.
See, all that was together. The pool had a pool table in there and all that. But a lot of the young kids could hang out there, because they might have soda pop and stuff like that you could go and get, Mm-hmm. And those are one of the things I really miss about the Hill. Mm-hmm. I just don't think, I think people went off and went to school, and because a lot of the people work hard for their kids to go to school and get a better education than they have. But I feel like we lost something because the things that we had, the Hill had its own community. Had their own stores, their own cleaners. They had 2 or 3 funeral homes. And Mr. Anderson had a store. So it was Mr. Anderson, Carr had a store, and this other man had a store up by the projects. So we lost. I feel like that the Hill has lost a lot. You know, I'm even kind of sad that AJ's not there, because it was good to know that we had one business that was trying to come back. You know, we had shucking house, we had laundromats. You know, it's just I would love to see that the Hill will come back to be more. You know, people invest more in the Hill. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's sad that the white people can find a treasure in our culture more than we can. And I think that's real sad. I really do. Because that Hill got so much property up there, and it has so much potential. But we don't need it to be that that they find the treasure and say, you know, and when they find it, they want the history of it. They're not just buying it just because they want to buy it. Just like this man, they bought Mr. Matt Rayford's house next to my mother's house. Come to find out that house was built, 1876? Mm-hmm. So the man that bought the house last year, he bought the house, found out that the house is almost in mint condition. It hadn't sunk to the ground or anything, and he went and, you know, got the history on the house. So now he's trying to resell it, but he's selling it on, his thing is that he will not sell it to anyone that won't renovate it back the way its original state, you know. And that's some of the reason why I'm kind of proud of Val, because I feel like Valentina, if it hadn't been for her, I do not think Holy Family would have come out like it is today. Because Valentina is the one that when she knew when she was commissioning, she knew what was going down. She got on that phone, and anybody she thought went to Holy Family, she got on that phone and she called. She said, y'all need to be at the next meeting. She was talked so bad, you know, way she was talked down about it. But she held her, you know, her ground, contacted Mr. Johnson, me and Arnold and different ones. She said, y'all need to get there, because if you don't, they're going to turn this Holy Family over to somebody that saw good grant money, you know, other than what the elderly care. You know, they were going to use it to filter in money. And so we went to that meeting, and my hat's off to Valentina, because I think she has a lot to do with Holy Family being restored, you know. I mean, even though she lost, you know, being commissioner, she still started a foundation of pushing it to be restored back onto the Hill like it's supposed to be. And you know, for that's why I'm so proud of that Holy Family. That's one thing we have, and I hope they never change it, and I hope they don't ever change the name, because that's one historical building we do have, you know, and we don't need to lose everything else, you know. So Apalachicola means a lot. Yeah. It means a whole lot, but I feel like if we don't take the value of pride in the, you know, the restoration of it on the Hill, then I don't think we can complain about people buying it, you know. I think a lot of us too are afraid to, you know, we say, well, it's nothing but a piece of old junk, you know, but they're not seeing it, they're seeing it as pearl. So when they buy it up, we get all upset and say, well, they're just trying to take over the Hill. But what am I doing to preserve the Hill, you know? And I'm just hoping and praying that with Val, with H-Cole or whatever, that we can have more of a vision to retake our community and make something worth saving up there. You know, it's a lot we can put up there. You know, if we believe in our culture, where are we supporting our culture? You know, that's what that's the way I feel about it. But you know, I love this place. And I'm very proud that they have, you know, like downtown, because I remember downtown had turned in just like the hill, almost like a ghost town. And I remember Mr. Wesley Chestnut years ago did was talking about the different places downtown and what that building, like the old nickel, what that was, and that was, and that was. And he was saying like he would like to see it come back. Now it's back.
Okay.
Now it's full back. So I'm saying we need to be the same way about the hill, you know, because we have a lot of culture. Mr. Matt Miller, you know, those were people those were treasured people. Mr. Clark, all of those people, and they bought property. They invested in property, and they were poor people. I guess poor people, Arnold.
Yeah.
They were poor people, but Mr. Matt Miller and them took their money and they bought property. You know, they invested in property. And we got a lot on this hill could really just be changed, you know.
My grandmother May Gary was a Cherokee Indian. And when she died, she was Cherokee. Her hair was so blazing. You could tell that she was an Indian. And she came from South Carolina.
She's a good cook.
Right. She was a good cook. And
You didn't cut up collard greens, you tore
came from Charleston, South Carolina. She came from Charleston, South Carolina. And she married my granddaddy, Robert Garrett. And she's buried here in Apalachicola.
And how many children does she have?
She had my mother, Osa May Garrett, and another daughter lived in Toledo, Ohio, which was the oldest of the two, and her name was I forgot.
Ruby.
Ruby Madison. Yeah.
And can you describe Osi for me?
Osa? You can't describe Osa. There is no way you can do that now.
I brought you in the world and I'll take you out.
Yeah, that's how she usually tells us. I brought you in the world and I'll take you out. You can't describe Osa, man.
Can you tell me a story? I'll say a story about Osi. Can you tell me a story about Osi?
I brought you in the world, I'll take you out.
And I don't know whether I got the child or the what.
Hey, no, you can't put that in. She always say, she didn't know, I used to aggravate her and she said, I don't know why I got the child or the afterbirth. You can't describe Osa, man. That's Osa made right there.
I'll pan at the end.
I'm through with this.
Okay.
Ed Toller was my dad, but my biological dad, but Tom Wynn was my mentor and a good steward to me. So
And what did he do for a living?
he was an electrician, and then when he was not an electrician, he worked at a paper mill for a while, and he taught school at Lincoln High.
So he was an educated man.
Educated.
Now, how was it? Were black men well educated when you were coming up? Was college a factor?
Yeah, college was a factor with us in our life because my uncle, I'm trying to get back into certain things, but my Uncle Watson was a very educated man. Charles Watson Clark. But we had, back in those days, we had a long history of people that was educated in our lives. And I give most of my gift to Thomas Wynn, which was my stepfather. And I don't never like to call nobody a stepfather, but I like to call him as my real father, because I was destined to go to jail. I was not. But until those people at Holy Rosary, and the Holy Family got in touch with me, I was seriously in trouble.
Mm-hmm. Now, how did the people at Holy Family get in touch with you?
But through my mother, Osa Mae Garrett, and the nun said that I had I had a gift that took me somewhere that I didn't need to be here. Okay, then I went to Lafayette, Louisiana, went to high school, and from there I got in touch with a brother Stifford, and I just kept on moving until I graduated. Because I went to Quinn High for 1 year, and after that 1 year I knew that I was going to jail. I knew that. But then I left there and I went to Holy Rosary Institute in Lafayette, Louisiana, and I went into the Marine Corps out of there. I graduated from there and I went to the Marine Corps, and that's my life.
Mm-hmm.